Greetings, everyone. Today I'm going to share a dream that I had um, some time ago, another older dream, and I entitled it, um, at least when I wrote it on my journal, I entitled it False Church Denominations and End Times Deceptions, because that's what it was about. And so I dreamt that it has to do with today's modern worldly church that is not the church, and end time deception that um, the Lord wants to inform to His people so that they can be prepared when they see certain things in the future. So I don't know when I had this dream. I didn't put a date on it. But I dreamt that I was in a hallway, like in an elementary school, and I was walking along the corridor, and there were many doors on my right. So I was in a hallway, and each of there were many doors on my right, and each door represented one church denomination, and there were more than 10 doors, I think. Then I went into one of them, and I sat at a table during a Sunday school with children around me. So I went to one of those denomination. I didn't know which, but I knew that each door was a different church denomination. And I entered into this Sunday school with other children, and I saw that the teachers had brought a DVD player, and they played a Disney, I don't know what, but a Disney movie. I didn't know which one, and they considered that like a movie night at church, which is a very worldly thing, of course. And I was annoyed by that, and I was like, this is not what we should be doing. But in that Sunday school, they just thought it was a good idea to put movies. And personally, when I was a child, I have been in churches in which they put, movies like The Croods, which is a very demonic movie as well. In the Sunday school, like, oh, it's just entertainment. So when I saw that, I was concerned because what they were doing was nonsense, and they were permitting the world to enter the church. But because it was something for kids, they still allowed it like it was nothing. Then I exited the corridor or the hallway, and I was heading someplace else. I found myself inside a platform in a fancy theater. Then I saw a bunch of people doing weird random stuff on these. It was in a moving, flexible church platform, but it looks exactly like a theater, not like a church, or like a church is supposed to be. And I was in the middle of it all, trying to find a way out. I saw a woman singing opera. I saw other people dancing to secular music. I saw others were doing choreography and practicing for a drama show. I don't know. But it was supposedly in a church. It was so overwhelming that I wanted to scream, stop everyone. I wanted to scream to everybody, stop. And I was trying to look around me to find a way to get out, and I noticed that the platform of this church building was so weird, and I was on top of a wooden platform, and it was light wood color, and the entire platform was one rectangular thing, and it moved by itself. So it had, like, on the bottom, it had like some hydraulics that pushed it up or down slowly, and it was so like modern that it made, like, the actual plank of wood made waves. Like, it made waves and shapes, and it twisted, and it made things, and it made such unnatural movements and that was also very overwhelming. I was sensory speaking, I was overwhelmed, and in my spirit I got the feeling that these quote unquote church people were doing nonsense and that they were wasting their time. After that scene, I immediately found myself in the middle of a big indoor fair. It was like a fair, but also had arcades with games and tarps, with food places, food trucks, things like that. I was with this friend talking about something, and I knew that my family was outside the fair waiting for me. On the edge of this fair, there was a narrow exit with a two-way line, and there was a divisor between both lanes of traffic. There were armed guards at the entrances of the lanes, and you had to ask permission to leave. Only one person could enter and leave at once. I understood in my spirit that this giant fair represented our sinful world. Because I was desperate to leave, I asked the guard, but he told me that no one could leave the fair. But then, I saw that he was contradicting himself, because during our argument, I looked behind him and a young man just came and entered the park, and the guard let him. I told the guard that this was unfair because this other guy came through there. So this other guy came from the outside, he came into the fair, but I wanted to leave. But anyways, he didn't let me leave, so I went away and I got into this attraction machine. There were a lot of roller coasters, attractions, lights everywhere, and it was like a party place, but I wanted to leave because I knew that was the sinful world. So I went into this attraction machine with the friend that I was with. The machine was like a virtual simulator in a spaceship, like in Disney, and we were riding it and laughing throughout the ride. When it stopped, the virtual scenes changed. The 360-degree screen that shows things, right? That thing changed, and because it was like there was gonna be another type of ride, I saw that the simulation portrayed as though we were like a jet plane flying through the Middle East along the shore of Western Israel. I suddenly thought that this could have been some predictive programming, like when Hollywood puts something in the movie's context that actually happens later on in the years. I was watching this and I thought that maybe there's gonna be a war in Israel, but all these people there thought that it was just a game, just a simulation. Later, I became tired of all the never-ending rides, so I got off and I went to the kiosks to find something to eat with my friend. I noticed that all the time that I was in this park, it was always dark and there were these annoying neon lights shining randomly everywhere. The entire park was indoors, and it was so big that you couldn't know if there was a way out. As we walked along the food trucks, I saw a guard in this kiosk looking casually at us and reminding us that we should exit the park, and he was wearing a surgical mask. And I think he told us to also wear masks. As I was talking to my friend, we went to this different part of the attraction, and the ceiling was a bit higher, so it was like we were in a giant dome. There's a movie called a very horrible movie. Well, I know it's horrible now, but before I didn't know. It's called The Truman Show, and this guy lives in a gigantic world dome. Well, it was just like that. Like, I remember now, it was just like that, a dome, and it had different places. So we went to this place, and in this place, the ceiling of the dome was higher than the rest. I then saw that the ceiling turned into a sky, right, like in the Truman Show, and it turned into the sky, a blue sky, and I could see mountains far away, and the sky was blue with clouds. I got this relief that we were finally outside, but no. I noticed weird lights in this sky ceiling, and my friend said, "You see the sky? It's fake because it's made with LED lights." Then, when I took a closer look, he was right. The entire realistic sky that I was seeing was fake, and the mountain was made of green LED lights to fake grass color, and there was like a fake texture to it as well. So there was fake texture added so that you thought there were trees in the mountain when they were not trees. I got this sinking feeling because I realized that we were still inside the place that I was, and that it was all an illusion. I think maybe if I have time in this video, I will share another dream right after this one, which was more recent. It had to do with the world and this world as well, and it also had to do with fake places, like fake illusions like these. So as we were walking towards one of the walls of the indoor park, we saw something like an angelic visitation or something weird like that, but it was very fishy. The indoor park was a huge dome. I said that. And sorry, I trying to read it. All right. So the part we were moving near to the edge of the dome, where the dome meets the floor, right inside, and we were approaching the edge of the dome, and that part where we were approaching, the LED lights projected like a fake forest, as though we were as if there were trees next to us, but they were not because they were fake. There was nothing. There was just a wall next to us, not a forest. But this was all an illusion. Then we saw that a sudden bright light shone in front of us, and this is hard to describe because it looked like movie effects actually, but it was a demonic angel appearing as something with light. And of course the Bible says that Satan himself disguises as an angel of light. We basically saw this sphere made of light, though and we could see through it, and it came down very fast, and it ended up next to one of the fake tree projections. Then there appeared a weird alien animal. I knew it was an animal, and it was not earthly, but an alien. And it was not a because it had 4 legs, and it was on its 4 legs. It was not upright like humans, so it was not an actual typical alien that we think they are. It was an animal, but it was not an earthly animal. This animal looked like a very compact, short ram with its horns towards the back, and this animal or beast, right? As in Book of Revelation, the beast. I'm gonna read later a passage about the beast, and it looks a lot like what I saw. And this beast, this animal, alien animal, came down from the sky with light, and there was a lot of deception in this animal. And he began to speak in a very low male voice, but in a very smooth and almost hypnotizing way. The ram had his eyes were closed, and its proportions, and its animal proportions were as though it came out of a kid's cartoon, because it didn't have normal proportions as earthly animals. It was like, I would describe it as as the kids show called Word World. So I I would like if you guys could Google it, or maybe I'll place it here. And so yeah, it looked like the animal in Word World, which is an old kids show. When it appeared, the ball of light which surrounded him stayed there, and this beast made the illusion that wherever the ball of light was shining, it was like time was slower, like he could control time. I even saw a fake butterfly flying slowly when they passed near him. But it was a very sneaky deception, and unfortunately, people in the fair started to come and see. The animal began to speak what people called words of wisdom. Like people called, they called his words, oh, he's speaking wisdom. And they actually, I don't know why, but one of the people that was close to him, listening to him, they were being deceived. One of them was, I think, maybe a woman from India. I'm not sure, but there were people from many countries, and they were listening to this beast or this animal, and they said that he was saying words of wisdom, and this animal was talking like a person, in a cheering, calm voice. Everything positive, everything's gonna be okay, and very nonsense. But I knew that it was demonic, and that I could hear people, gasp and sigh at what this animal said. But here's the thing: when I tried to hear the details of the words that this animal was using, it was nonsense. Like, it didn't make any sense. It was like none of the words were related to each other. They were just arranged to sound nice to one's ear. And so it was a deception. And then I saw that this friend of mine that I was with, he began to mock this animal, but in a very inappropriate way. And I saw that this friend, I saw that the animal didn't care. He was not bothered by his mocking. In fact, I saw that both of them began to make jokes and talk as if they knew each other before. And then when I woke up, I realized that this quote-unquote friend that I was with was not a friend at all. Whoever it was, or whatever he was, it was in unison with this strange beast. And here's the scripture that I remembered when I had this dream, after the dream, when I remembered that people will wander after this beast. And it is Revelations chapter 13, verses 11 through 18. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth, by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And then here is verses 15 through 18. And I'm gonna have to make the other dream later. Verses 15 through 18 say, And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, small, great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So that was the message that the Lord wanted me to share. I thank you guys for watching the videos and listening to what the Lord is saying to His people, and the confirmation that He's giving to us. And thank you guys for sharing, so that other people can know this truth. And I'll see you guys later. God bless. Bye.